Uh, Welcome everybody to this Sunday morning guided meditation with the Dhammadharini. I'm happy to see all of you on the Zoom as well as those who are here in person. Today is a slightly special day for us here at the monastery because we're having what we're calling a half-day meditation retreat. So we'll have this 1-hour program now. We'll have Donna at 11 o'clock with anybody who's around for lunch. Then at 1 o'clock, we'll have the Sutta study, which is given on Zoom as well as in person. And then later on in the afternoon from 3:30 until around 7, there will be some special in-person only time here at the monastery, and possibly a few people will come around and we'll sit together for meditation and continuing the Dhamma discussion. The theme that I've settled on for today is about contemplating the three feelings: the pleasant, unpleasant, and the neither unpleasant nor unpleasant feelings. This contemplation might be one of the unique discoveries of the Buddha, which is different from the previous traditions of his time. The relationship, there's a very important relationship between feeling and suffering, because if a person hasn't thought about it or hasn't developed meditation, hasn't looked deeply or investigated themselves, then their reactions to the three feelings are likely to lead to misguided perceptions and proliferation of thoughts and emotions to all different kinds of reactions, which may culminate in pulling out your weapons of war and waging war on each other, all because of unskillful or unconsidered reaction to feeling. But if we become wise unto ourselves about feeling, then it's possible that a feeling is just a feeling and can be seen accurately just as it is, and doesn't need to be the trigger or the fuel for any kind of unskillful reactions. So we're going to be talking further about this later on today in the sutta discussion. I wanted to suggest for this morning a mindful contemplation of feeling, just trying to practice to notice what a feeling is. Are we feeling something? Is the feeling present? Are we able to distinguish if it's pleasant or unpleasant, or if it's neutral? Very often people will have a lot of feelings that are sort of happening in their social interactions, but if you put them on the cushion all by themselves, practicing meditation, they won't be able to say, I don't know, pleasant or unpleasant, how can I tell? So feeling is what feeling does. So the pleasant feeling, if you imagine what makes the body-mind become more soft and relaxed, and turning towards or opening up for whatever is to be experienced, you can classify that as a pleasant feeling. If you are noticing that the body is tightening or turning away or shrinking or tense, or if the mind is very not wanting to stay on an object but wanting to jump away to something else, that will be an unpleasant feeling. So you can classify it that way. And then when there's not any special push or pull in either direction, that we can classify as a neutral feeling, or neither pleasant or unpleasant, which has the danger that most of the time people don't notice or they don't value neutral feeling. And it has, so that's a negative quality, that the neutral feeling often is accompanied by ignorance or a delusion because we don't notice it clearly. But the neutral feeling, when it's noticed with a lot of mindfulness, is wonderful because we're not instinctively turning away, we're not instinctively going towards. Those reactions are not being triggered in either way. In that case, we can experience freedom, or you could say equipoise, to be balanced. And then one could choose, like if something is coming into our experience, let's say the blue jay is chirping, and we hear the sound of the blue jay. So then, shall I turn my awareness to focus on the blue jay? Or shall I ignore the blue jay and just focus on the breath or something else? So the neutral feeling is able to go either way. And so that means that one can make a choice about how to respond to the different things that come up in our experience. Most of the time, as we go through life, for many people, I think it might depend on your personality, but for many people, if you counted all the moments of the day, 90% of them are neutral, and only 10% of them are either pleasant or unpleasant, and maybe only one of them are extremely pleasant or else extremely unpleasant. But the mind focuses and remembers the strong, pleasant, unpleasant feelings. If you try to give equal measure of attention to each moment passing by, you can see that the pleasant or unpleasant moments are surrounded by a lot of neutral moments. And that means that you are free, because you don't need to be like captured by a pleasant or an unpleasant feeling because of the sort of a cushion or something of just wait a moment and it will go to neutral. So, having given such a big explanation, I now would like to invite all of us to come to an upright and balanced posture for meditation. if possible, having an upright back, unless because of your health you need to rest your back on something. Mm. Is sitting in the cross-legged position, arranging as comfortably as possible so that there's a kind of stability in the posture. Or is sitting on a chair, aware of the feet uh, on the floor, connected to the earth. Letting go of the excitement or agitation from earlier today. Letting go of worries and thoughts or wishes about later on. Making the decision to remain in the here and now, right in the present moment, paying attention to what is arising, especially with the body and the senses and the mind, what's arising in the present moment. Being aware of the contact with the senses. So the touching sensation with the body. Noticing the contact of the body with the seat or the chair. The hands touching. The clothing touching the body. The temperature of the air touching the skin. Internally, relaxing the muscles of the body. Aware of the touching sensation internally. Relaxing the face. Dropping the shoulders. Making the belly soft. If any part of the body has an ache or a pain, relaxing around that and noticing it just as touching sensation. with open awareness, sensitive to any touch coming up anywhere in the body. Aware of the feeling with each touch, as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. If you notice a sound, just notice that. Touching the hearing faculty with the sound and the feeling connected to that. Or any of the five senses, a smell, a taste, a sight. It's just a contact with the senses. And if a thought or a memory comes in apart from the five senses, it's just a thought touching the mind. The mind and thought are the sixth sense. Just take it as a touch, the same as the sound touching the ear or a sensation touching the body. And notice if it's pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Staying open, aware of the touches of sensations, especially the tactile touching sensation on the body. And during the last few minutes of this sit, bringing in the thought of loving kindness. May everyone be happy and secure, free of anger, free of ill will, free of anxiety, for myself as to all. Repeating that thought of kindness. And notice the Vedana, the feeling connected to the thought of kindness. Gently emerging from that meditation. And in this case, I think it's maybe helpful to review what one was able to notice within this meditation along the suggestions that I gave. Could you distinguish the sensations touching the body or sounds touching the ear or other sensations? Would you distinguish a thought when a thought arose? Were you able to notice any different colors of Vedana, different colors of feeling that were arising? And I would be very pleased if anybody here is happy to report about this practice of mindfulness of feeling, or any questions about this or anything else related to meditation. I'm going to turn to Anagarika Mitakanti.
Yeah, just at the end there, I was really trying to pay attention to the feeling of loving kindness, because that I feel is one of those things where you sort of can kind of sense the intention is in the mind, and then stuff happens after that. Um, but it does seem like maybe trying to just feel it in the mind is especially powerful somehow, or especially pleasant. More pleasant to feel things in the mind than in the body, maybe. I don't know if you have any comments.
Uh, yes, indeed. It seems to me that as far as pleasant and unpleasant feeling, that actually the mind is even more powerful than the body, and that different kinds of thoughts can create very powerful pleasant and unpleasant feelings. Um, there's some Western scientists who say that um, there's a contact some contact happens, which could be starting from a memory or starting from something externally touching, and then, or something that changes inside the body. And then certain, even before there's any conscious knowledge, that there's certain changes happening in the body. And then the conscious mind is reading the changes happening in the body to find out whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. So that the body starts to tense up and focus for an unpleasant thing, or relax and for a pleasant thing or something like that. And then the conscious mind sort of figures out what's going on. But it other Western psychologists say it's not really so roundabout, that actually the mind itself is directly um, cognizing things as being pleasant and unpleasant, and the the formation of perceptions and so forth is happening very rapidly, but that this feeling, this first the first impression is by way of feeling. And yes, indeed, uh, uh, the thought of kindness can be um, more distinctively pleasant or different than just having the mind in neutral and just watching what's coming along through the other senses, while the mind is in a sort of as a neutral observer. Yeah. It's interesting, even one can go back and forth, like spend some time with the thought of loving kindness and notice the feeling there, and then stop thinking about loving kindness and just go to observing the body, and sort of go back and forth and see what the difference is, what the change is. Yeah. Uh, okay, Nita and Saket.
Thank you, Aya, for this wonderful teaching in the morning. I wanted to understand, like, sometimes we put ourselves into a situation where we have anxiety. Like, for example, if you're giving an exam or there's something coming up, which is like you're really tensed about it. And then I was observing those feelings today morning, like how the anxiety comes and how it really the sensation, how it impacts the whole body. And then there's a sort of an aversion towards it, that okay, I don't want to put myself into that situation again. uh, so I wanted to understand, is that aversion, or how do we handle such an aversion towards a feeling which comes out of a situation, not a person,
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah.
Thank
There's a something, it's a phrase that we see often in the teachings, the Dhamma teachings, which is called the gratification, the danger, and the escape. And so, like the feeling of anxiety that you might have about an upcoming exam or about some other situation, even though at one level it's unpleasant, at another level it's pleasant, because the anxiety is motivating you to do your preparations, to do your rehearsals for how you're going to encounter that situation or how you're going to take care of that situation. Or you could say the anxiety is giving you a fair warning that there's some danger coming along, and you better like be prepared to protect yourself from that danger. So in that way, the anxiety is trying to help you. So when it's and anxiety is an example of like a full-blown emotional state that is including both body feelings, like manifestation in the body, like you could be getting like heartburn or feeling tense or something like that in the physical body. And then there's some perceptions about it and some thoughts about it, and also some motivation, some intention about it, like what we have to do. Uh, so then uh, I try to think, even if it's unpleasant, I try to sort of say, thank you, mind, or thank you, anxiety, for letting me know, uh, and giving a little like compassion. Um, may you be well, something like that, just as the kind of like self-talk. And then if it's just in meditation, you don't want to continue doing further like thinking and planning to take care of the anxiety. You just should try as much as you can just to let it be and come back to a different object of meditation, something that's um, not so emotional, something like the breath or loving kindness or something like that. That's while you're on the cushion, you just see it, you acknowledge it, and let it go and stay with your object. So the only activity you want to do in meditation is watching and being aware. After you are emerging from meditation, uh, if there's anxiety, there may be actual practical things you can do to take care of your anxiety. And it could be like preparing for something which is frightening, uh, uh, or doing something to uh, um, help yourself to relax. Like you could take a bath or drink a cup of tea or something like that, just to try to help yourself to let go of the anxiety while you continue doing the work that you have to do. Or it could be if you have some emotion, like discussing it with a friend. Those kind of things. Those are practical, useful, perfectly good ways to cope with an unpleasant emotion. While you're in meditation, you're not doing all of those like coping mechanisms or planning out how you're going to cope with your feeling. All you want to do while you're in meditation is just to see what you got. And then like have compassion and try to just leave it alone and stay with the meditation object. That's my suggestion there.
Thank you so much, Aya, for this. I tried the compassion piece, and then I could feel that feeling may be happening with everybody. So under the hood, like that feeling is common to all. So I could have compassion not just for myself, but for everybody who might be going through that feeling.
Yes. You must have read the Satipatthana Sutta because in the discussion of the Vedana or the mindful contemplation of feeling, it says that one should observe the feeling internally. One should be aware of the feeling externally and be aware of it both internally and externally. And that's exactly what you said, that you have your own anxiety, but then you can infer that all other people also are subject to anxiety, that the anxiety is throughout not only the human race, but all the sentient species in the animal realm, at least, all of them can have anxiety. And so the anxiety is something that's both inside and outside. It's everywhere. And it just happens to be like touching you. And then that realizing that compassion also helps you to not be like caught up in anxiety. It's more like being interested and saying, wow, look how anxiety is going all through the world. Oh, this is amazing. How interesting it is to be aware of that. And then you're going to have compassion. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you for the guidance. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay, Maureen. Good morning.
Good morning. This has been one of the most helpful meditations I've ever had. And I have been going through some very troubling things I have to deal with in my regular household life. But I was able to shed all that. And I was seeing colours with my eyes shut, like lime greens or beautiful violet colour, or images of clouds. And I also, these were all pleasant feelings. And then I was sort of flooded with loving kindness. I just felt it. And it was, so this was a very pleasant meditation, and so it wasn't neutral. I wasn't being neutral about it. It was initially the colors I could see that it was a neutral situation. Those were all neutral, but it all sort of morphed into being pleasant. And so I'm very fortunate with this meditation. Thank you. Very fortunate. Yeah.
This shows how wonderful the Buddha is, that he's given these wonderful teachings. In the Satipatthana Sutta, how many times have you read that sutta? Maybe since 20, 30, 40 years, you've been aware of that sutta, but then in an actual sit of meditation, that mindfulness of feeling can give you a fresh, new, bright, wonderful experience in meditation. It shows how effective these teachings are, to come back to them again and again. They never get old. They're always fresh and new and different. So I thank you very much for that report, and I hope that this interval of pleasant Vedana will then make it much more easy to face up to anything in the day that is more difficult to face up to.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to say that it was like being in a Brahma Vihara. And I could imagine that you could go to any of the Brahma Viharas, and I actually went into like an equanimity about everything as well. So that was really good. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. I'm going to take the microphone back to Anagarika Mitakanti.
I guess I just want to comment, like, since we are doing the Satipatthana, there's also the sort of difference between the sort of feelings that are of the flesh, or bodily in a sense, and feelings that are not of the flesh or mental in a sense. So I think it can be very useful with like the type of what Maureen is describing there, to like mentally contrast those feelings with like other types of pleasure, to get a sense of like the difference between like more of the physical feelings and the sort of mental feelings, because like the sort of beautiful colors and stuff like that can be useful to see how that is like, or to, I guess, contemplate like where that is happening and how it's like not happening in the body in a way. Um, is it like is it called a what's the Niramisa? Yeah.
Mitakanti is mentioning, this is in the Satipatthana, they talk about the Ramisa Vedana, the feeling, what's sometimes translated as carnal. It's referring to meat. I mean, what is arising from the flesh, like breaking the leg or having a delicious taste of food or something. That's Ramisa Vedana. And then Niramisa Vedana is called not carnal. There's different ways of looking at those two kinds of feelings. And I don't know if it's that important for what Maureen has just reported, because the experience of color was also being experienced in a very pleasant way. So it was like the mind has gone to the Brahmavihara level. And so all of the physical touches are really pleasant, as well as like the mental and physical is very pleasant together. But it certainly is more even more beneficial than having a nice cup of tea to be able to have a meditation like this. Okay, Patipada, and I'm going to give you the last comment of this session.
Thank you, Ayya. In my meditation at this stage, what's happening for me is there's this experience of everything just being rainbow colored. So there is this river, which seems to be like a river of energy, and it's all rainbow colored. And like a heartbeat, every time the heart beats, the forms are popping out of that river in a rainbow color. So it's like life is emerging out of this and then dissolving back into it. It's just a really interesting image that the mind is creating. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you. You've given us a lovely metaphor. I feel, since we spoke about the Brahma Viharas, that we want to be aware that just all by themselves. The Brahma Viharas will take us as far as heaven. But we are even luckier than that because we had a chance to hear the Dhamma taught by the Buddha. And we are grounded in the Eightfold Noble Path, grounded in right view and good morality and wisdom. So whatever fantastic experience or difficult experience or whatever experience we have in meditation, we don't cling to that. We still know that it's impermanent, arising because of causes and conditions. It's not individual or belonging to my own self. And so we have these great experiences and then let go. And with that letting go, we have the opportunity to have a breakthrough to noble wisdom and freedom. So let us close by giving respect to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Araham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Suakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Suparipando Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangham Namami.
Thank you, Ayya.
Okay, thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Ayya.